Hello and welcome to World History Lesson 1 Ancient Civilizations and Harnessing Nature's Energy. To start this lesson, we're going to answer two very basic questions, and that is, how did ancient civilizations form, and why were they formed where they were? Now, the title mentioned energy, and when I say energy today, you're probably thinking about this, or probably this. However, today we're going to focus on different forms of energy. The first is actual plant energy, especially in terms of wild plants. And the second form of energy is from animals. Now, for majority of human history, we relied on him. No, not Arnie, but the muscle power of people. In the beginning, we used muscle power to hunt and to gather. That's actually how most humans feed themselves for the majority of human history. But later, we developed techniques to farm and invented agriculture. However, even though humans are some of the most intelligent creatures on this planet, our physical strength compared to many animals is weak. If this horse were to play the tug of war with Arnold, Arnold will lose every single time. Now going to the map, I want to point out the date of the Mesopotamian civilization actually formed. It is actually much earlier than the other two ancient civilizations. Now the question is why? And my answer to that question is because Mesopotamia really hate nature's jackpot, both in terms of plants and in terms of animals. Now, human beings have been eating plants since the dawn of mankind. Eating plants is nothing new to us. However, in terms of agriculture, not all plants are created equal. There are certain type of plants that's especially suited for agriculture. The plant had to have the following characteristics in order to be farmed successfully and to be used to feed large numbers of people. Number one, it needs to provide high amounts of calories in the form of carbohydrates. So a small volume of such foods can provide a lot of energy. Number two, it have to be stored for a long period of time. Now imagine fruits and vegetables. They're all very nutritious food, however, they rot quickly. And in order for an agriculture society to be successful, the food must be able to be stored in a long time. So in terms of crisis, such as a drought or a flood or some kind of a natural disaster, the food can be taken out and the population can eat it. And third, it had to be harvested on a regular basis. If it takes and third, it had to be able to be harvested on a frequent basis. If you wait too long, then the whole point of agriculture is really a failure because you'll be starved to death before you have some crops to eat. And lastly, it had to be grown in a diverse environment and in large quantities. Even in an area like Mesopotamia, there are very different geographies. Some of them drier than the others, some of them have higher elevation than the others, but these plants had to be able to survive on all those environments. And the two plants that is the pinnacle of this criteria are wheat and barley. Now, both of these plants are native to Mesopotamia. Farming is hard work. Even just plowing the ground is extremely difficult. And in order for agriculture to be successful, you need to farm large land areas. And just by human power is impossible. So, in order for large-scale agriculture to be successful, we must employ more than human power. And that power has came from animals. What are some of the characteristics of animals that can really help humans? Number one, they have to be strong, but also have to be intelligent. Because of these two criteria, we're truly limited to large mammals. Number two, they have to eat plants. Carnivores are also very strong. However, they're also extremely inefficient for humans to keep because you have to raise other animals just to feed the meat eaters. And no matter how strong they are, it's not worth the effort. Third, they had to be herd animals. When a herd animal have a leader, it follows that leader. And humans can become their leader and to a certain degree tell them what to do. The animal needs to grow quickly. So within a shorter period of time of raising it, it can be a productive force for you. And it had to produce easily when in captivity by humans. Fifth, the animal needs to have a mild temper. I'm sure the zebra fits every single point we just talked about. However, it have a very, very nasty temperament. It is very, very hard to tame. And that's why, even until this very day, they're just zoo animals, but they were never domesticated. And lastly, they had to be capable of living in close proximity to humans. A deer fits all of the previous 5 criteria. However, it is a fidgety creature. When something happens, like a loud noise, it runs away very easily. And that's why you cannot keep a deer as a working animal. Before the invention of machinery, these animals are the driving productive force for ancient civilizations. And 2 animals in particular really takes the prize here. The first is the bull, and the second is the horse. These animals are strong, exceptionally strong, and they do so much for humans, including agriculture, transport, and also their poop is a great fertilizer for the cereal plants that the ancient civilizations depend on. So the animals and the crops really have a mutually beneficial relationship. When humans have harvested the crops, we eat the seed. However, the remainder of the plant can be fed to animals. The manure from the animals themselves is also a fertilizer and can be applied to the field to grow more crops. And the real benefactor of this symbiotic relationship are humans. We keep the plants and we keep the animals, and both provide for us. The unique combination of plants, animals, and geography in Mesopotamia allowed the first civilization to form. Without any one of these factors, this could not have been possible. The Great River Valley in Mesopotamia provided the water and the soil needed for agriculture. Very productive plants, such as wheat and barley, provided the food the civilization needed. The bull and the horse provided labor to farm these plants in large quantities, so some people do not have to spend all their time farming in the field just to feed themselves. Some became priests, some became skilled tradesmen, such as blacksmiths or carpenters, and yet, because of a large population, then there will be a need to settle differences, to administer justice, and to distribute the society's resources in an efficient and fair way. Because of such a large population, there is a need for government, and government is the basis for all of human history.